Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're untangling the incredibly intricate hyperlink horror of Zach Cregger's 2025 cinematic epic, Weapons. This film, it's like a giant puzzle box. It weaves together all these multiple storylines, supernatural dread, and some really deep-seated community trauma. So, let's dive right into this dark, brilliant narrative and figure out exactly what happened in the town of Maybrook.
Picture this. It's a quiet Wednesday night in Maybrook, Pennsylvania. The clock strikes exactly 2:17 a.m. And without a single sound, 17 children simultaneously leave their homes and just vanish into the pitch-black night. No forced entry, no obvious signs of a struggle, they're just gone.
Section 1. The Midnight Disappearance. A town left in the dark.
Now, the crucial point here, the really terrifying connection, is that every single one of those missing kids belonged to Justine Gandy's third-grade class. Out of her whole roster, literally only one student remains, young Alex Lilly. So naturally, human instinct kicks in, right? The desperate grieving parents, led by a highly suspicious father named Archer Graff, they need a scapegoat. They point their fingers straight at Justine. She's quickly suspended, which pushes her right into this isolated, alcohol-fueled downward spiral. But despite all the accusations, Justine becomes absolutely determined to investigate Alex's home. She just senses he's the key to the whole shebang.
Section 2. Converging Investigations. Tracing the Breadcrumbs.
So, Justine and Archer both take matters into their own hands, but they do it in completely opposite ways. First, you've got Justine's terrifying stakeout. She drives to Alex's house and finds the windows completely covered in newspaper. His parents are just sitting inside, motionless, like statues. Exhausted, she falls asleep in her car. But then, Alex's entranced mother silently walks out and literally cuts a lock of Justine's hair while she sleeps. Creepy, right? Meanwhile, Archer takes a much more logical, methodical approach. He starts gathering and comparing video doorbell footage from all over the neighborhood.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what Archer figured out. By mapping that doorbell footage against the 2:17 a.m. timeline, he makes a stunning breakthrough. He realizes the kids weren't just wandering aimlessly. Every single missing child was walking toward one single converging destination in the dead of night.
Section 3. A Gruesome Discovery. The Underbelly of Maybrook.
Okay, so here the narrative takes a sharp left turn into the seemingly unrelated subplot. Justine's ex-boyfriend, Officer Paul Morgan, is out on patrol. He stops a homeless addict named James from committing a burglary. But during the pat-down, Paul pricks his finger on a dirty needle in James's pocket. Panicked and enraged, Paul violently assaults him. But then he realizes his dashcam caught the whole beating, so he just lets James go. This sets James on a desperate flight into the woods, and he eventually decides to burgle a random house for cash. And that house? Yep. It just so happens to belong to Alex Lilly's family. Talk about a massive collision of storylines.
So James breaks into Alex's dark, quiet house. He creeps down into the basement and stumbles upon a secret that completely shatters this mystery. Take a second and think about it. What exactly did James find in the dark?
He finds the 17 missing children. They're all locked away down there, alive, sure, but completely catatonic, just staring blankly into the void. And this horrifying reveal is compounded by what happens next. James bolts, trying to run to the police for the reward money, but he crosses paths with Officer Paul again. A chase kicks off. Paul catches him, and when James blurts out what he found, Paul shockingly brings him back to the house. Paul leaves James handcuffed in the car to go check it out. Hours pass. Then suddenly, Paul bursts from the house, utterly, completely changed, and drags a screaming James inside.
Section 4. The Aunt Gladys Twist. The Puppet Master Revealed.
Meanwhile, as all this chaos is unfolding, Principal Marcus Miller tries to do a wellness check on Alex. But he gets intercepted in his office by this deeply unsettling elderly woman who introduces herself as Alex's Aunt Gladys. So who exactly is Aunt Gladys? Well, get this. Both Justine and Archer have been suffering from these terrifying shared nightmares about this exact woman.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can break down the supernatural mechanics of Gladys's plot. She's a witch, a distant, homeless relative who was invited in by Alex's mother. And once she's invited, her spell takes over. Step 1. She bewitches Alex's parents, forcing them into self-harm so young Alex has to comply. Step 2. She makes Alex steal personal items like name tags from his classmates. Step 3. She uses those items to summon the children at exactly 2:17 a.m. Why? To lock them in the basement and literally feed on their youthful energy. It completely subverts those usual slasher tropes. She's an insidious parasite working through manipulation, not brute force.
And Gladys's power, it is absolute and terrifying. To stop Principal Marcus from interfering, she visits his home and bewitches him. She only needs a single lock of hair to take total dominance over someone's mind. Under her control, Marcus is literally forced to brutally murder his own husband, and then he's sent out as a mind-controlled assassin to hunt down Justine.
Section 5. Breaking the Spell. The Explosive Climax.
Justine and Archer finally piece the puzzle together. They realize Alex's house is the epicenter of the whole thing, but the second they arrive, they step right into pure chaos. They are immediately ambushed by Officer Paul and James, who, you guessed it, are now completely bewitched by Gladys. Justine is forced into this brutal fight for survival and actually has to kill both of the bewitched men. Meanwhile, Archer sprints down to the basement to save the kids, but he's ambushed by Gladys herself. She instantly bewitches him, turning him violently against Justine.
It looks like all hope is lost, right? But then the turning point arrives from the most unlikely hero, young Alex. He realizes the source of Gladys's power, bravely grabs her magical totem, and just smashes it. This one act completely shatters the spell's hold. The trance trapping those 17 captive kids is instantly broken.
Those freed children wake up to the nightmare they've been enduring, and they turn that collective trauma into a weapon. They storm out of the basement. Gladys tries to run, but the kids pursue her relentlessly through the suburban streets. They finally catch her, and in this incredibly brutal, visceral climax, they literally tear Gladys apart. Her violent death permanently breaks her dark spell over the town of Maybrook.
Now, the aftermath of all this is grim. It's deeply bittersweet. Gladys is destroyed for sure, but the trauma, that stays. Alex's parents are completely broken by what they were forced to do to themselves, and they end up institutionalized, which forces Alex to move away. And as for the rescued children, well, except for Archer, who gets to lovingly carry his son home, the rest remain in catatonic shock. In fact, it takes 2 full years before some of them even begin to speak again.
So Weapons isn't just a movie about a witch. It's this profound meditation on parental grief, deflection, and how adults fail to protect the vulnerable. Think about it. The parents were so eager to blame Justine rather than looking closer to home. It leaves us with this really chilling final question. Do communities conjure convenient boogeymen to blame rather than confront the real, insidious things that actually endanger our children? It's a thought that really sticks with you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time as we unravel another incredible story.